Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Well, the newly appointed chairman to the Port of Waterford, John Treacy, has extensive executive management and board experience, which will undoubtedly provide the port with invaluable expertise as it seeks to further enhance this critical infrastructural asset. John joins us now to discuss his plans to increase activity levels at the port. John, before we discuss your new role as the chair of the Port of Waterford, I'd like to hear about your career and in particular your time with Sport Ireland.
Thank you, Karl. Nice to be with you. I suppose got involved at the Irish Sports Council first in around 1997, and then that developed into Sport Ireland in 2015. So I've been chief executive of those two state organisations for probably 20 years, and so a lot of experience in dealing with board level and dealing with issues around sports, and very happy with my contribution to sport because I suppose I was central to a lot of the major developments in sport over the last 20 years. And when I started off first, I think investment in sport was around 10 million in the Department of Education. It was close to 150 million on the current side when I was leaving. And that doesn't include the capital investment that the ministers and government put in at local level. We're certainly now, in terms of the sporting infrastructure, we're in a totally different place than we were 20 years ago.
And when you look back then at your 20 years involved in those sporting organisations at the highest level, John, what approach did you take to be able to get that investment from 10 million to 150 million over that period?
Well, it is about putting substantial plans in place. It is about going to government with credible plans. It is convincing government and ministers and department officials that you have a case in for the investment. And it is really about investing and comparing ourselves to other countries in Europe and making sure that we can compete on the international field and that we can support our local people that are trying to exercise for fitness. And the whole health agenda was really kind of critical to what we were doing because there was a big part of our organisation promoting physical activity in the community, which is really a big piece in terms of the quality of life of people living right around the country. So the whole emphasis in physical fitness and activities and the whole social dimension of sport is really critical as well. So government recognised the real benefits of sport, and I suppose, successful ministers have supported what we have done around that.
You were recently appointed to the role of chairman of the Port of Waterford. But why were you interested in taking up that position? Because it really is a sea change from the world of sport.
I suppose what I wanted to do was to put on the South East jersey and see what I could do to support economic development down the South East. And I suppose I wanted to go back to my own roots, whether it be Waterford, Kilkenny or Wexford to South East, and support it in some way, and I suppose put my name forward to kind of lead something that was, I suppose, that is very, very important down the southeast.
Just like Rosslare Europort, of course, the Port of Waterford is equally as important to the southeast region. So what do you hope to achieve during your tenure as the chairman of the Port of Waterford?
There's two key pieces probably and all the ports in Ireland will be making sure that they're ready to support wind energy going forward, and we hope to play a role in that, and the chief executive will be discussing or talking about that in the months coming up, but that's obviously a critical importance. The minister has highlighted it, and so anything the Port of Waterford can do around that, we'll certainly be trying to do. So that's obviously a key piece. And the second key piece is really to grow the business. We have the capacity and we want to grow the business, and I suppose the big piece for the Port of Waterford is that if you're in the southeast, our carbon footprint, and certainly for products that are coming from the southeast, they should be gone out of the local ports. And like if you're sending cargo up to Dublin, you'll save 20% over 20% in terms of the carbon footprint. Now that's so that's something that we need to get out there. And I suppose the other piece is in terms of the Port of Waterford is the rail link. We have a rail link that goes right into the port, and so that's something that we hope to explore more and grow over the next number of years. So really important pieces there.
And John, is there an opportunity here for the Port of Waterford to collaborate with Rosslare Europort in relation to the offshore wind opportunity?
Yes, I think so. I don't doubt that for 1 minute, and certainly the ports in the southeast should be cooperating and will cooperate and bring various strengths to the party when we're working together. But certainly, I would think that we all should be working together to make sure that the southeast serves the wind industry in that area very well.
And of course, when you compare Rosslare Europort to the Port of Waterford, Rosslare focuses on roll-on, roll-off traffic, while Waterford focuses its attention in the load-on and load-off area. That makes it seem that you're not directly competing with each other, even in terms of the overall capacity of the port itself.
Yeah, that's true. And look, we have our strengths. Both ports have those strengths, and I suppose from our perspective, we need to kind of build our capacity over the next number of years. And look, with the increase in our population size and economic growth in the country, certainly there is need for two ports in the area, and certainly the both can complement each other very, very well.
And of course, the rail link is an important piece of infrastructure there as well. How will you maximise that potential over the coming years?
Well, the rail link goes all the way to Mayo, and so there's areas there right through the centre of the country that we can maximise, and so we'll be. I suppose it's around the carbon footprint. If you're taking something by rail from Mayo, the carbon footprint is a lot less than trucking it all the way to Dublin. So that's something that we'll be highlighting, and we can explore further, and we'll obviously be working to develop that over the next number of years. But really, really important now, with the environmental impact of travel, and rail is obviously the way we can go, and something that we will be exploring further as we're developing over the next number of years.
And John, given your significant experience and success with securing so much funding for sport from government in the past, will you also be looking at doing something similarly for the Port of Waterford in terms of putting a business case together for significant capital investment to the port?
Yeah, well, look, that's something that the Chief Executive will be doing in terms of putting a plan together for investment, and where that investment will come from, maybe Europe or wherever. Look, we'll be exploring every avenue that we can around that. And we also obviously have to build up our own resources. And the Port of Waterford has a very healthy balance sheet, and we will obviously be standing on our own 2 feet as well around it. And but investment will be needed, and we'll obviously, the board and the Chief Executive will be put on our best plans forward to make sure that we raise the capital so that we can develop the port further to meet the capacity needs that will come down the road over the next 10 years.
And what is the timeline for developing a strategic plan that will require capital investment?
Well, we have our master plan, and that's on the website, and it's available and what have you. So look, we were talking about developments in the next 10 years, but I think they've been shortened because of the whole area of wind capacity and all that. So look, I think the board will certainly be looking at that point and looking at the development plan over the next 6 months. So that's obviously a key area in terms of moving those kind of timelines forward for development.
Talk to us about the current business model at the Port of Waterford.
Agricultural business is very, very important to it in terms of cargo, in terms of terms of agro and fertilizer and what have you. So that's an important piece in terms of the cargo that's coming in and out of the port, and obviously we'll be continuing to develop that and making sure that's maintained. The container piece is also very, very important, and obviously we need to we need to develop that, and of course we've had a business closing in Waterford, which does make an impact in Waterford as well. So that'll be the type of business that we'll certainly be building up, and over the next while. And there is challenges around it, and obviously what we need to do though is build the cargo capacity and ensure that we can meet the needs of in the local area. And I suppose what I'd be appealing to down there is to companies that are exporting or importing any products. They should be looking at the local ports.
And talk to us about the scale of the port and the volume of activity which it currently facilitates.
Turnover of the port is around 8 million. And the profit of the company was about 2 million last year. So that's and it's probably around 5% of our exports out of the country every year in terms of all the other ports. So it's a small port in the big scheme of things. We want to develop the port and get our numbers up. We have the capacity, and we'll continue to develop the business model as we're going forward.
And John, while the port does have capacity, what are the current challenges facing it?
Well, I suppose the current challenges is to grow the business like all the other ports, and so obviously we need to make sure that we can service the companies that are in the region and find out what their needs are and make sure that we can deliver on those needs. So that's a key piece for us. And I suppose over the next year or so, Chief Executive will be busy developing the plans around that and growing that business. So it is about the challenges are really about is growing the business. That's one piece, and the second piece really is making sure that we're ready for expansion around wind energy and whatever the needs are. So they're the kind of two big challenges for the board. As I said, the board has a healthy balance sheet, and we obviously need to make sure we put our best foot forward for the development of the port and work with the industry down in the southeast and support the industry as best we can.
And John, finally, what can government do more of in terms of supporting both the Port of Waterford and, in your opinion, Rosslare Europort?
Well, I suppose the department and I suppose the minister is very, very supportive in terms of the ports, and I suppose the challenge for us all is to grow the business, and I suppose make sure that we can, I suppose, persuade businesses to use the ports in the southeast. And obviously Dublin has a lot of capacity, but I suppose it's a very busy port, and I think our selling point is our flexibility to work with local businesses, and is our quick turnaround in terms of trucks and ships on the port, and we can turn things around very, very quickly. There's no congestion down around the Port of Waterford, and that's obviously another selling point. So it is about selling those key kind of points to industry down in Waterford and the southeast, really and truly.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was John Treacy, the chairman of the Port of Waterford, and the development of this infrastructural asset will certainly benefit the economy across the southeast.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.